neljänneksi paljon SPURSItaan niitten.
That's right, it's here. The official here once again with Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny the Jet Smith for another go out in Oklahoma City. Looking at the Thunder, their first time playing these guys this. You know, we've heard so long that Greg Popovich is one of the best coaches in the NBA, if not the best.
You know, that's the difference. Well, he keeps these games and seasons in perspective. He looks at the big picture, not the small picture, and he's adaptable. Adaptability is one of the hardest things for a coach. We're going to play. But then all of a sudden you make 3 or 4 trades and you say, well, should we still play that way? He says, yes, we will be adaptable and change our styles.
We've all heard this phrase before, defense wins championships. Popovich, all about defense. He's very sound with his overall defensive approach, and he can really build schemes. His strategies are effective, and they slow down the other team's star.
For my money, not just one of the best NBA coaches of all time, he's one of the best coaches of all time in any professional sport.
That's pretty.
I agree, Ernest.
He's had season
I'm
after
trying to
season
think of him.
at the highest level. That does it for us for now. Thanks for tuning in.
Mun mielestä Thunder voittaa. Kai niitä käskä millään.
Welcome everyone. Thanks for tuning in to 2K Sports for this NBA presentation. This is Kevin Harlan alongside Clark Kellogg.
Olemme vajannut.
Greg Anthony with Doris Burke on our sideline. We've got a Western Conference battle ready to get rolling, and this Oklahoma City crowd wants some love from their Thunder. They're getting their first look of the season at San Antonio in this one. Last season, they couldn't get the edge in the matchup as they went 1-2 in the season series. Now here's Williams. Elbow shot. Count the bucket. Williams has got the first points up on the board here for the Spurs.
Wow, got that one off right in the face of the big fella. Nice quick fire release.
Yeah, and the mid-range shot really the only option in that situation. Sometimes when you're facing a bigger guy, you can't get it all the way to the rim.
And a look at the starters for San Antonio. J.J. Redick is out there with Darren Williams. Then it's Young. Then it's Anthony. And it's Vucevic in at the pivot spot.
I wonder if they've peaked. I mean, it seems you say that a lot with this team, and they prove you wrong. What Popovich said last year, he feels it might actually be the case.
Now let's do Atlanta.
Good pick, but he just couldn't make it count.
Yeah, nice job of setting the screen by his teammate there. I'm sure he appreciates it.
You know, one thing about this San Antonio team, they just didn't go away last year. Pop himself said he felt they peaked in the 2014 finals.
You know, and you wonder if what Pop said is true. Spurs lost in the first round last year, and they'll be going through a lot of changes in the near future. And with the way they run that organization, they'll still be competing, I believe, for quite some time.
And he's good on the second.
You know, last season, Thaddeus Young was moved from Minnesota to Brooklyn, guys. A good move for everybody involved as he helped with the playoff push.
Now here's Kobe. Right wing. Just 4 to shoot. Pekovic with the screen for Paul. Vucevic with the block, and they force the shot clock violation. Great team. And so just over a minute and a half played. Dishes it to Anthony. Vucevic setting the pick for Anthony. Second chance shot, and Vucevic finishes inside. Vucevic has got his first points of the game.
Well, Merry Christmas. I mean, that was a freebie.
And Pekovic throws it down.
And, guys, I was a bit worried, but now we all know the rim doesn't have a lid on it.
Yeah, you could actually feel the tightness and tenseness with each miss. I'm actually glad to see they got that first one out of the way.
And Anthony gets it to go. Anthony's got his second bucket. Young last year, as you mentioned, GA, shipped to Brooklyn, provided good punch off the bench.
And Young is so efficient in his scoring that he's a great guy to play heavy minutes off the bench. Shot over 50% from the floor in his game. Just really haven't gotten into a flow offensively.
Williams, that's a two-pointer. And the rebound goes to the Thunder. They're coming into this game off that recent loss to Atlanta.
And you don't have to go too deep into the box score to figure out why they lost that one. They just had an inability on that day to make shots.
You know, sometimes we talk about a defense getting into the heads of the opposing players, Greg, but that night they got up in their own heads, just got in their own way and couldn't get out of it.
Anthony's shot is off. Thunder trailing by 7. They really want to find that igniter here.
Yeah, that's right. Kevin, the offense has basically been running in place.
They got to get going. And Zaletovic kicks to Bekovic.
Bekovic pass to
Just 5
Bekovic.
on the clock. 14 feet away. The shot misses. And San Antonio will go the other way with it. Doris Burke has some information for us. Doris?
Kevin, Greg Popovich and I got a chance to talk for a bit. When talking about who they'll be most concerned with on the other side, he laughed a little and asked, "You mean other than Kobe?" He said that it's an almost futile effort to try and slow Kobe because he can score in so many different ways, saying, really, all we can try and do is prevent him from getting into a rhythm and try to force him into tough shots. Guys?
Thanks again, Doris. And a new group in here for the Thunder. Tyson Chandler is checked in for Nikola Pekovic. Tamari Carey comes in for Andre Iguodala. Kyle Korver, he's checked in for Bryant. And it's Chalmers in for Paul. It's been said time and time again that playing in Oklahoma City is one of the tougher places to play in the league. Last year we saw it as well. This place, Greg, it's so loud when the Thunder are rolling.
And even though the Thunder missed the playoffs, the Chesapeake Energy Arena was as loud as ever. Really helps when you are the show in a city.
Some defensive breakdowns are starting to show up now. Their last 4 buckets allowed have come from very close range.
Yeah, high percentage shots are what they are getting in terms of the attempts, and that's just not going to get it done. They've got to figure it out.
Thunder trailing by 13.
And even though the injuries hurt the Thunder, last year at home they were still as strong as ever. I mean, a home record of 29-12 is pretty darn good. Unfortunately, they were in a very tough Western Conference.
Arthur up top. Lots of room. Chandler with the rebound.
And as far as jump shots go, that's what you have to continue to try and get.
I don't know how that one stayed out.
Feeds it to Arthur. Got it off in
Zaletovic.
And an open. And Tyson Chandler, known for being a great teammate, a very vocal leader certainly. He talked about how
Tyson
important it is for an
Chandler
NBA locker room.
Players do the policing. Coach sets a standard, but players individually.
Don't you need a player like this, Chandler's caliber and character, Greg, to make that kind of a teamwork? You know, have that feel in the locker room, that leadership role that everybody believes in and respects?
No doubt about it, Kevin. And that weighty stature is built on experience and credentials, as you mentioned, like having that championship ring or being an all-star. But when you have it and use it that way, the coach doesn't have to worry about the locker room because Chandler has got that covered.
Welcome back, folks. We'll see if we're in store for a more tightly contested quarter as we move here into the second. And, guys, let's get your take on the scoring breakdown for the Spurs.
They've set the first half tone by getting out on the fast break and getting the defenders on their heels.
You know, another factor in their offense so far has been their ability to convert and score off turnovers.
On the court for San Antonio here in the second. Tyron Williams out there with Lee. Then it's Anthony. And it's Arthur. And it's Vucevic in at the 5, down low.
Chris Paul, guys, for the last decade, the best point guard in the NBA. Now, there's some new competition for that distinction though, with Steph Curry breaking through to NBA stardom. And it's always exciting to watch these two go head-to-head.
Catching up on the changes for Oklahoma City. Mirza Teletovic is checked in for Chandler. Iguodala comes in for DeMar Carroll. And Kobe is subbed in for Mario Chalmers.
A lot of space right there to get that shot off.
Not a very good job of the defender getting over the top of that screen in that particular play.
Now here's Paul. He's coming off a 13-point game against Atlanta.
What the?
How would you compare Chris Paul and Steph Curry?
Well, Steph Curry is just an off-the-chart shooter.
Satana.
I think the best in the history of the game and overall
Ja
shot
saa vittu
making
kaikki
creativity.
sisään.
As far as shooting
Ei noit
goes,
voi
Paul is more of
puolustaa.
an orchestrator, a maestro supreme.
Mutta nimi voisi olla San Antonio Legend.
Decide to talk it over.
And as good as Vucevic is on offense, guys, he's doing everything he can to catch up on his defense. Huge size and wingspan works to his advantage. Although the subpar athleticism hinders him a bit. But for example, he's averaged less than 1 block per game for his career, mostly because even though he's a 7-footer, he plays well below the rim.
Now here's Paul after the miss from Nikola Pekovic. And it's Bryant in the corner. Fires for 3. And a great assist by Paul as that one goes in. Paul's got his 3rd assist on the night. Spurs leading by 10. And to Vucevic's point, big problem throughout his career, Clark, has been getting into foul trouble.
Yeah, it's tough. He's aggressive and sometimes out of position. Coaches are asking him to be aggressive, but he has to learn how to do that without fouling. That's the next step in his progression. And some of it is anticipation, so you're not in position to foul.
Just a solid performance on the interior. The rebounding has been off the charts.
Yeah, you look across the board, it's actually sizing up, shaping up to be a great game. I mean, strong performances throughout, and they've really been strong on the glass.
Here's Paul. Paul can't get that
Vittu
one to
siipi
fall.
Liisat.
Well,
Se
they were
pelasi
ready for him
viime
right there.
pelissä on
They
sikaa.
totally collapsed the defense on it.
And the wide
Okay.
open shot from Redick. And again, it's San Antonio with a 3.
How about the any in the
Selfishness. Really hard not to appreciate all the assists they've racked up. And fellas, in this quarter, he's improved on what was already a very good performance in period number 1.
Pass to Pekovic. Kicks it out to Iguodala. Can they get it? Jump shot is good that time. Just under 3.5 minutes played here in the second quarter. Vucevic is screen on Paul. And Williams, here we go. Tries from 10, and that one hits back iron. Thunder trailing by 16. Last season, Clark, the Spurs kept on winning as usual. They passed the Lakers, in fact, for the best winning percentage all time for a franchise.
Well, some of that has to do with the struggles the Lakers had last season, but more of it is credit to the Spurs. Consistency and high-quality play has been who
Okei,
they are
Deron
and
Williams
have been
on
for
siipi
2
tuli.
decades.
Ei, ok.
Here's Teletovic.
Okay,
Deron Williams
okay,
picking up that
okay,
last
okay.
basket.
2 osaa.
Anthony against Paul. To the inside. It's stolen by Vucevic.
Pei!
In transition, here come the Spurs. Anthony leading the
Saatana vielä
charge.
hei.
And the jump shot has been a dimension of this game where they've had a clear advantage.
Greg, they keep pulling up and watching them go down. It's a really nice thing to see.
Now here's Pekovic to the paint. Got a piece of it. And stolen by Williams. Here's Redick. It's good.
Kobe,
Great play
mitä
by Williams to
vittua
set
sä
it up.
teet?
Redick's got 12.
Running it right down their throats. 3 straight buckets in transition.
Yeah, and they're paying the price right now for the lackluster defense. For me, that's inexcusable.
It's 9 seconds separating the shot clock and game clock. The 3 from Bryant. Rebound by Anthony.
No doubt it's been a bit of a struggle for him here in this quarter in terms of scoring.
Mitä
Williams against Iguodala. Goes up the baseline, and he gets it to go.
Eikö se
And that's
Carmelo
now 10
saanut
points for
siipi
Carmelo
tuli
Anthony.
aikanaan? Niin
And that's sort of been the story here today, hasn't it?
Paul with the 3. Oh, and he just knocked down the pass. And so a pretty lot.
It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Ernie Johnson here again with Kenny Smith and Shaquille O'Neal. San Antonio did not hesitate to set the pace. They had intensity in their eyes and fight. And that'll do it for now as the second half of our game is a...
Well, it's been a one-sided affair so far through the first two quarters, but there's plenty of time to mount a comeback. You look at J.J. Redick, what a contribution.
Yeah, created a lot of quality shots for himself in that first half, and he knew when to pass it up when the double team came.
And that led to a very high points per shot number for him. For those of you that are into analytics, that stat really tells how efficient a player has been. He's been very efficient so far.
Our second half of basketball, and presented by Gatorade. Let's see who's all on the floor to start the third. Taking a look at the Thunder. Pekovic is out there with Mirza Teletovic. Then it's Chris Paul. Then there's Kobe. And it's Iguodala in at the three, the small forward. Spurs leading by 23.
And, you know, J.J. Redick has shown steady improvement in his game. He entered the league as a spot shooter off the bench. Last season, averaged over 30 minutes a game for the Clippers. He's come a long way.
They've shown some strength in the paint today. Their work on the boards has been impressive.
Guys, that's putting it mildly. I mean, they've been absolutely dominant.
Now here's Williams. Pass to Redick. The three. Good, and it's Williams.
Okei, ei vittu piirrettä, vittu antapa tölliä
kaikkea. Here in this one already. And Redick has improved every phase of his game over every year, especially in the area of efficiency. Shooting over 47% from the
Kobe on vapaa heittää ohi, sitten se piti ei ole vapaa, niin sitten se tietenkin
his mid-range jumper last year, just automatic. The turnovers per minute averaged also ridiculously low. It even improved as a defender.
The screenplay worked ideally there, and I'm not talking about the screenplay you see in a movie theater. Gave him more than enough room to get that shot off. You know, one of the things I think we forget about with Chris Paul is just how clutch he is as a player. I mean, hitting the go-ahead shot in Game 7 against the Spurs last postseason was a big reminder to everyone that this guy is clutch.
Now here's Williams. Fires the three. Rebound by Kobe. Iguodala left side. The three. The shot by Kobe. No good. And talking about Paul and his ability to come up in the clutch, that Game 7 shot when he was playing injured against San Antonio, the defending champions, turned out to be the game-winning points. Remarkable play, remarkable series for him.
It was. You know, you could see him hobbling around out there and would have to miss games in that Rockets series, the first two, if I recall. But that series is what Paul is really all about, Kevin. He is a competitor, first and foremost.
It's stolen by Vucevic. Nice move. And it's good. Through contact, it's the shot. He'll go to the free throw line.
He always knows where his team...